YouTube, Shukin Shubby here with a review of the Power Rangers Super Megaforce, Silver Morpher, and Super Silver Spear. SSS. These are both basic battle gear items, so they retail for $14.99 at most major retailers. I picked these up from Amazon.com, but they have been cited at Walmart's, I believe, right now. So keep an eye out at your local retailers to see if these pop up, and keep an eye on Amazon as well. They restock every now and then. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the Silver Morpher first. I'll put the Silver Spear and good old Robo Knight aside and take a look at the Silver Morpher. Included with the Silver Morpher is obviously the Super Megaforce Silver Ranger Key, and I actually really like it. If we take a look up close, you can actually see that the silver present is actually very good. The Japanese one had an issue with the fact that it was just gray plastic. But this one is actually a nice, more metallic, silvery sort of plastic, and it looks very nice. The head detailing is pretty spot on. Like most of the American Ranger keys actually have some pretty nice helmet detailing. Sometimes they flop, but most times they're actually pretty good. So I overall really like the way that this one turned out. It is pretty neat, and it is numbered PR6. So he is the 6th member. Flip that up, you got the QR code right there. So of course we'll take a look at that in the scanner app. But before we do that, let's take a look at the key in the Legendary Morpher.
Super Megaforce Silver.
Unfortunately, that's the only sound. There's no sort of Q-Rex summoning noise or anything like that. So that is a little bit unfortunate. But let's go ahead and take a look at this in the scanner app.
It's morphin' time! Super Megaforce Silver.
Just like when we completed our set of Core 5 Super Megaforce Rangers and we got the legendary Megazord sound, adding Orion to the mix will give us yet another sound in the Legendary Morpher. So let's go ahead and bring it in and start with Troy and work our way down.
Super Megaforce ready. Super Megaforce Silver.
Never said it was a thrilling sound, but it's a new sound nonetheless. Exciting times, right? So here we have the Silver Morpher, and I have to say, despite it being a basic battle gear and obviously lacking a lot in playability, aesthetics-wise, I actually really like it. It's a lot slimmer than the Gokai Cellular and fits a lot more comfortable in the hand. And that's one thing I liked about the Robo Morpher release, is that it was much smaller and much more portable. And this is too, and I like that about it. At the core, it's not missing a whole lot of details, actually, when compared to the Gokai Cellular. As you can see, just looking at it, outside of this red flap, that is really the only kind of aesthetic sort of thing that's missing. Obviously, there is a lack of silver around the buttons and down there. But outside of that, it hit most of the other points. There is a lack of silver stripe right there. But it hits the gold in most of the places. The gold's a lot more subdued, so I don't know if that bothers you or not. But it is a nice looking gold regardless, even if it isn't as sharp. Obviously, you don't have this sort of gimmick in the back here that's all molded in. And there's no buttons to flip this up or anything like that. But it hit a lot of the paint detailings, so right off the bat, looking at it, I think it looks pretty nice. Now, unfortunately, because it's a basic battle gear item, it's not going to have a whole lot of sounds. If you were expecting a whole lot of sounds out of this, you're kind of delusional. Not going to lie. But you just flip this open, and you can put the key in there without a key inserted.
Megaforce Silver.
You get the two different beeps and Super Megaforce Silver. I don't think that's Cameron. I want to say that's actually Andrew Troy's actor, or just a generic dude. I'm not 100% sure. But it sounds close enough to Orion, I think, to pass. So you just place the key in here. It'll lock in place.
I'm going legendary.
He's going legendary. Close it up, hit the button.
It's morphin' time.
And
Legendary Ranger mode. It's morphin' time. Legendary Ranger mode.
unfortunately, that is it. There is no actual morph sound. So we're going back to the days of the second release of the Samuraiser with no actual morph sound. It's a morpher with no morph sound. That does irritate me a tad. It wouldn't have been too hard to put the Gokaiger transformation sound in here as a third button press. But it's a little bit disappointing. And now, for fans of Gokaiger, you know that the gold anchor key sat down here when he went into gold mode. The key functionality is there. You can take your key and lock it in there. It's secure in there, but it doesn't change anything.
Super Megaforce, silver. Super Megaforce, silver.
It does the same sounds regardless of what goes on. So there's nothing worthwhile about that other than the fact that they did bother to drill out the hole down there to insert the key. That is really about it. It is nice that they included the phrases, Legendary Ranger Mode and It's Morphin' Time, as both of those are used in the show. So that's always a nice little touch, but the lack of an actual morph sound or any sort of sound that can emulate a morph, I think, is a little bit of a letdown. But like I said, aesthetics-wise, I think it's great. If you are a fan of Super Megaforce and just want something as a visual representation or something to kind of just fiddle with, it's good for that. The sounds aren't the best, and the functionality isn't all there. This is all just one solid button. But regardless of the fact that it's only one button, the print is there, and it does look nice. I always liked the little cartoon-esque helmets on there. And they're all present and accounted for, and I like that. No, they did not change it to put the Titanium Ranger on that. Let it go. But at the end of the day, I'm satisfied with it for $15. You can't expect a whole lot. And so at the end of the day, it looks nice enough for me to accept it. And I really like the way that it turned out. Unfortunately, I can't say the same thing about this. Fortunately, included with it is a Robo Knight Ranger Key, which I was not expecting to get in the American line. In fact, the Japanese line had this as a candy toy exclusive, so it wasn't even too easy to get over there. But it's a nice looking key. It's got all the details. The head sculpt is pretty nice. Not gonna lie, I always like the Japanese version of the key. So having a little American one is nice too. And just like Super Megaforce Silver, it's a nice silvery color as opposed to a flat gray. So I really do dig that. Like all the other Megaforce keys, he's PR7. So I'm sure you know what to expect when we pop this into the Legendary Morpher.
Megaforce. Megaforce.
That is all for him.
It's morphin' time.
Megaforce.
So this is the Silver Spear, the Silver Ranger's main weapon. And when the Gokai Spear came out, we kept making jokes that it was the Gokai Fork. This totally has that beat. It is a very incredibly tiny handle. Up here is the trident area, and it's okay. It's just a lot of gold plastic and a lot of blue paint, and that is really about it. Fortunately enough, it does have one extra mode, one of the three. You flip this up, Lock those in place, and you have the anchor mode that gold mode uses. At least I think it's gold mode. I don't know. It hasn't appeared in the show as of this recording, so I don't know what they're actually calling it. But the additional mode of the Silver Ranger uses the anchor mode. Now there's also a blaster mode, but this toy can't do it. There would be a joint right here. These would fold down to make a handle, and it would be a blaster. I don't know why they couldn't just put in 2 additional hinges and fold it down. It didn't even have to make noise. At least if it could do it, it'd be a step in the right direction. But unfortunately, there is no blaster mode in this. There are 3 sounds. I think 3 sounds total right there. From what I gather, I don't own that toy, but it comes from the basic version of the Super Mega Saber. From what I gather, it's just straight up ripped sounds from that. So you can take your little Robo Knight, pop him in here. And then you have a 4th attack sound. It doesn't turn or anything like that. It's just a simple plug and play sort of thing. But this is incredibly disappointing. Again, for $15, not expecting a whole lot, but I think I would have been satisfied with it if it could just fold these 2 down to make the blaster mode and kind of complete the toy. I think that would have been satisfying for me, even if the sound sucked. And I mean, the look of it kind of sucks too. It's missing a lot of paint up here that it could use to actually be somewhat decent. But the lack of the blaster mode kind of kills it for me. So at the end of the day, are these worth it? Yes and no. I really do enjoy the Silver Morpher. Like the Robo Morpher before it, it's a sleeker version of the Japanese design, and I do appreciate that for portability reasons, and I just like smaller morphers. Sometimes they get really clunky and big, and that was my biggest flaw with the Gokai Cellular. So I appreciate the slimmer design. Obviously, as the basic price point, this is not going to have the functionality that a lot of people were hoping. If it was sold at the Legendary Morphers price, then absolutely it could, but at the $15 price point, it's just not going to get a whole lot. But that being said, I do like the phrases in it. I just really wish it had some sort of sound that could represent a morph. So that is a little bit unfortunate. Thankfully, the Super Megaforce Silver Key, which, as of this recording, is the only way to get this besides getting the Silver Ranger training set. So it's kind of necessary for that. Bouncing over to the Super Silver Spear. Unless you really want the Robo Knight Key, which is actually amazing, I really like it, it's not worth the pickup whatsoever, but it is an exclusive key to that. There is no other way, as of this recording, to get the Robo Knight Key. So if you're a key completist, you do need to pick this up for the key. But if you aren't really all too concerned about the key, then it's not particularly that fun of a toy, unfortunately. So I do recommend the Silver Morpher if you can ignore the playability factors, but I can't really vouch for the Super Silver Spear outside of the really awesome Robo Knight Key. So thanks for watching, take care, and have a great one. Bye.